right, so we are wrapping up, we're over a month. We're wrapping up week 5, right? We just wrapped up week 5. That is wild. It is wild. So next week, I think marks our we're halfway through phase 1, which is also crazy. So let's go ahead and jump on the scales and see how you did last week.
Janine, 198.4.
280. Have some standings here. In 7th place, down 2.8 pounds, 1.17%, Miss Neela. In 6th place, down 2 pounds, 1.22%, Miss Jenna. In 5th place, down, hold on, I wrote the name, I didn't write the number for whatever reason. In 5th place, down 5.4 pounds, 2.43%, Jean, good job. In 4th place, down 9.4 pounds, 4.2%, Amy. In 3rd place, down 13.2 pounds, 5.49%, Natasha. Which, by the way, hi. I didn't know you were going to be on here today. I'm so happy to see you. In 2nd place, down 12 pounds, 5.7%, Janine. Good job. And holding down the 1st place spot, down 18.7 pounds, running those stairs in the stadium, 6.26%, Sarah. Awesome job. New decades this week. Janine is in Wonderland. Congratulations. Oh, I'm so excited for you. That is amazing. It is amazing. It is amazing. But what we are going to talk about tonight, it literally is the only thing that we talk about twice, that we have 2 meetings on in the entire season, because that's how important it is. And it's one of those things that season 11 talked to you about a couple weeks ago. And I know they told you the quote that you can't have a positive life with a negative mouth. And so when it comes to life and death being in the power of your tongue, and our life being the fruit of it, if you want to succeed in any area of your life, if you want to succeed in business, if you want to succeed in weight loss, if you want to succeed in your marriage, if you want to succeed in, having great relationships, people who succeed think differently than people who don't. And our words come from the way we think. We think first and then we speak. Or we speak in our head based on what we think. And so if you want to change the way you speak, you got to change the way you think. And your brain does not know the difference between a truth and a lie. It only knows what you tell it. It literally only knows what you tell it. And so when I had always heard this life and death in the power of the tongue. You will eat the fruit of it. I saw it in the Bible. I heard people talk about it. I would hear pastors preach on it. And I believed it for things like my business. I was really intentional with almost, speaking what the world would call affirmations when it came to my business. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's where I'm going. This is the kind of business I was going to have. But when it came to like weight loss and my body, it was like a whole completely different, separate world that I was completely horribly hard on myself, critical of myself. And if I'm being honest, it was the biggest insecurity I had in my life. My body, my eyes, my arms, my legs, my waist, my boobs, all the things. Like I was very insecure about it. And so I wasn't very kind to myself for a lot of those years. And one day I was in a sales training, I was in a business training that I was doing, and I told a lot of my employees, listen, you're never going to get a positive life with a negative mouth. Period. And a lot of you are in here complaining about your spouse, but yet you want to do good in business. You're complaining about the money you don't have, but you want to have a great day. You can't talk negative and expect to get in front of your client and nail it. And all of a sudden, I got this conviction that, like, I had never applied this to my weight loss, to my health. And all of a sudden, I got this conviction, yeah, Carmen, you're never going to be fit complaining about the workout. You're never going to be healthy complaining that you don't like broccoli without butter. You're never going to have the butt you want complaining about the shake doesn't taste like a Frosty. Like you're never going to have the health you want as long as your mouth is saying negative crap. And it was just like this voice inside of my head, like taking my hand and going, you know, smacking my hand for all these things I had been saying that I didn't even realize were sabotaging me. I didn't even realize were affecting me. But here's what you've got to understand. So when you say something, that is your truth. That is your truth. And so we'll use this as an example because we've all talked about it. So when you say something like, I'm tired, your brain's job is to move you closer to what you want. It's your brain's job is to move you away from pain and close to pleasure. So your brain wants to keep you away from anything that it perceives is painful. How does it know what's painful? Through experiences and words. This is how a child knows if they touch the stove and they get burnt, don't touch the stove again, because they had an experience that created some behavior. All right. So when I say things like, I'm tired, that's telling my brain what? I need sleep. I need to get some sleep. So if I'm starting my day and it's Monday and I'm rolling up into Monday and I'm like, I'm tired. So that's my truth. What I'm saying is my truth. Whether it's true or not, I said it. So now that's my truth. Okay. And if I believe I'm tired and that's my truth, how do I act? Our actions follow our beliefs. So whether I'm tired or not, listen, I've got a dear girlfriend, love her to death. She works from home. She has no kids. She's not married. She doesn't have a job. And she's always talking about how tired and exhausted she is. And some days I find it laughable. I love her, but I'm like, oh my gosh. I don't even know. I want to be like, you don't even know what tired is. Like, really? But that's her truth. And she says it so much, she believes it. She believes it. Now, those of us that actually you know, are married, because that's another thing. When you start having kids, when you have businesses, when you're traveling, like all those things add. But to her, because she says it so much, it's her truth, it's her reality. So it's how she shows up, it's how she acts. And you can just see it in her. She'll be like, oh, I'm exhausted. And exhausted has a look. Come on, you guys show me, what does exhausted look like? Someone who believes they're exhausted. Come on, show me exhausted. Oh yeah, Neela's got a good exhausted, the mouth hanging open. You're just like, oh, I'm so exhausted, I can't stand it no longer. Oh, right? Exhausted has a look. And someone tell me, when's the last time someone showing up exhausted changed the world? Had an amazing day, slayed the week. And so your body can do far more than what so your body doesn't give up, your brain does. When you're in that squat and you're like, oh, it burns. My thighs are going to pop out. My quads are burning so bad. I can't come out of it. No, you don't. You can stay in there so much longer, but it's your brain that gives up. It's your mind that gives up. when you haven't eaten in 4 hours and you're like, I'm starving. Oh my gosh. I'm so hungry. I could eat my arm off. Well, as soon as you say, I'm starving, I'm famished, I'm so hungry, I've got to get something to eat now. What is your truth? So if your truth is I'm starving, what does a starving person act like? Give me food, give me food, give me food. You almost get panicked because you need food, you need calories, you need stuff, right? How many of you ever done this? I can put both hands and both legs up. I have totally done this, like acted like a ravaging person because I haven't eaten in 5 hours. Like, give me food, give me food, give me food. And it was so funny because I wound up like looking into this, right? When I really got into this life and death and the power of the tongue thing. And I used to always say, in fact, there was a season where I owned, who's heard of this? Hangry. If you don't eat, you get hangry, which means now you didn't have some food in a couple of hours, so you're angry. Now you get to be a dink to everybody else because you're hungry. That's what hangry said. First off, does anyone know who coined the phrase hangry? Who like made that up? Whose slogan it was?
Snickers, wasn't it?
It was Snickers. Snickers told you were hangry and just go get a Snickers. And I like legitimately love Snickers and owned that I was hangry. And I was like, those mother effers, they totally played me. Their marketing worked on me like big time. And so like all of a sudden I started looking this up, right? And when I started digging into this, I'm like, what is hangry? Like who told me I was hangry? Oh wait, Snickers did. Frick. Darn it. Because it really ticks me off when I realize that I like totally fell hook, line, and sinker for this marketing stuff, which we all do, by the way. That's why they have commercials and they spend so much money on it because it's effective. I'll hear people say, oh no, commercials don't work on me. I'm like, shut up. There's different degrees, but they work on all of us. They just got to get in front of us enough times. So anyway, I started looking this up, like how long can I go without eating? Do you know what I found out? Do you know what Google told me? I could go like 15 days without eating. And it wasn't the food that was going to get me, it was going to be the water. And I was like, here I am freaking out after 4 or 5 hours. I didn't even go a whole day. And I'm like, oh. But where did it start? It started with what I said. Your life and death of your dreams, of your goals, of the future that you want is in the power of your tongue. And the life you have right now is a reflection of what we've said. So I had to get to a point where I had to break up with the old Carmen. I had to break up with all my old beliefs. I had to come to the realization that I was going to have to change. And how I thought, how I spoke, what I believed. If I wanted to live a different life, it was going to have to change. And it was going to have to start with what I was saying to myself. And so as a morbidly obese woman, I started calling myself fit. You are a fit mom. You love to work out. You love leg day. And then I would ask myself, okay, so what would somebody who's fit, how would they approach leg day? They would probably say, because hear me. If I say I hate leg day, I don't like leg day, what is my truth? I don't like leg day. My brain's job is to move me closer to leg day or further away from leg day. Further away, right? And then I was like, okay, so how would somebody act who loved leg day, who's fit, who's healthy? The woman that I say I want to become, how would she act? Well, shoot, she would probably be dancing all down the stairs. She'd probably go to bed excited for Wednesday's leg day, Tuesday's leg day. Like she would be like, dude, tomorrow's leg day. I love leg day. She would tell the kids how much she loved leg day. She would wear her favorite cute hot pink leggings because it's leg day. She would be like, oh yeah, it's leg day. And that's what I started doing. I no longer allowed myself to say, I hate leg day. I don't like leg day. The first 90 days of this year, I decided I was gonna get up at 5 a.m. I work from home, we homeschool. Normally we don't go to bed till like 11:30 midnight. So I would get up at 7. Well, I decided that I was gonna get up at 5 a.m. As soon as I decided that, I love waking up at 5 a.m. I am a morning person. I believe God created these hours. These are set apart hours. I'm going to get so much done. I'm going to have so much clarity. I'm going to be spending this first 30 minutes with God. Then I'm going to do my workout. Immediately, as soon as I made the decision, everything that I spoke was where I wanted to go. Did I have my fears in my head going, oh my gosh, Carmen, you've never gotten up at 5 a.m. in your life? Like, in fact, I've actually said 5 o'clock is like ungodly hours. I've said things like, I'm not a morning person. I'm a night person. I love my sleep. The biggest thing I prayed about when I was pregnant, my biggest fear is that I wasn't going to get sleep. It was my biggest fear. I prayed for hours to God. God, you are the teacher. You know all. I know you know how to get babies to sleep. Please download into me how to do it. It started with how I spoke about it. What if I would have said I was going to get up at 5 a.m. and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is going to suck. I can't wait till these 90 days are over. This is hell. What if I would have said that? It would have been everything I said it was going to be. It wound up being amazing, but why was it amazing? Because I said it was going to be amazing and I believed it. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a truth and a lie. It only knows what you tell it. Early on, and I'm giving you guys health examples, but this works in every area. When I was young and I grew up in a double wide trailer, molested twice before the age of 18. We were on food stamps for a portion of that. Like, life was hard. And I wanted to be successful and I didn't want to repeat what my parents did. I had a dream to be a millionaire but I didn't really, the only millionaires I knew I saw on TV. Like, I didn't know anybody that was successful, but I knew that I wanted my future, my upbringing to look like I wanted to raise my kids differently than the way I was raised. I didn't have any proof that I could do it. But what I had was what I believed, what I said to myself from the time I was younger. I learned, speak where you want to go, not where you come from. Every time we talk, it's not just words. It literally is our future we are creating with what we're saying. It literally is our future that we're creating with what we're saying. And speaking life is a habit and speaking death is a habit. And I didn't start off here. I started off as a gossiper, a complainer. I wouldn't have told you I was, by the way. I didn't know it. I didn't realize it. I wasn't somebody who tried to be that. I thought I was a good person. I did my best to do good things. But it's who I was around. It's how I was raised. So it rubbed off on me. And I didn't even realize it until I started flocking with other people until I started being aware of it. And so the first step is being aware of it. The second step is now being intentional about it. And it's imagining that every time we're speaking, imagine life, your garden of life. And every time you talk, imagine your mouth is a seed shooter. And as it's coming out, it's spitting seeds into your garden. And whatever seeds go into your garden is what's going to grow, right? If someone comes and plants watermelon seed in your garden, what's going to grow? Watermelons. Whether you want them to or not, if you put watermelon seeds in your garden, that's what's going to grow. So how do you know what we've been speaking? We look at the fruit in our lives. You know, the Bible says, judge the fruit. Because the fruit doesn't lie. The fruit doesn't lie. That's why it says, judge the fruit. Don't judge the person, but judge the fruit. So the fruit comes from here. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. So if we don't like the fruit, we got to stop planting watermelon. If we don't want watermelon, we can't plant watermelon. If we want corn, we got to plant corn. So if we want something, we've got to make sure that our words are lining up with this. And there are levels to everything. Here's what I can tell you. you guys, season 11 talked to you about this several weeks ago. And I can tell you unequivocally, I've seen a difference. I've seen a difference in all of you, which is amazing. It's amazing that you heard that and you were like, okay, I'm going to work on this. But then it's realizing that there's levels. There's levels to everything. And so it's like, okay, hopefully tonight, us going deeper on it, getting some more examples is like, frick. And there's sometimes, guys, I still get convicted on things. Like there's these things over here I changed, and then I'll get convicted on this other thing that I'm doing. And I'm like, dang it. Doggone it. Okay, that's okay. Lord, thank you for conviction. Thank you for revealing that to me. Now I can change it. Because if I'm unaware of it, I can't change it. I can't do nothing about it. So I'm really passionate about this subject because it's changed my life. It's changed my life in every area of my life. If I don't like the fruit in my life, I immediately look at, what am I saying? What am I saying? What am I thinking? Because that's what I need to change. I need to change what I'm thinking, change what I'm saying. If I don't like the fruit, always, always, the fruit always tells me what I'm thinking and saying. Always. So,
So, I was like, while you were talking, I was writing some notes and like, I just love everything that you just said. I swear, this is so helpful. But so I basically, so like, I would say like in my relationships and like, I feel like the life and death plays in my like life, because of mostly like in my relationships and my emotional well-being. I would say like the past experiences that I had with friends and even with like distant like family, like in-laws, has really had a lot of like conflict that I've like faced. And I would say like it's like planted seeds of like fear, anxiety, unresolved anger within me. But I also would say like I'm in like emotional survival mode, and I'm unable to like fully move forward, but I want to, and I see hope, and I pray every day, like I'm such a big, like Catholic, and I'm very like into my faith, and I pray to God and Jesus every single day to move me towards the right direction. And and I really see that like I'm taking steps forward with that. But I do want to start planting seeds for like healing, inner peace, like strong and healthier connections that can grow into a more balanced and like fulfilling life. So, yeah.
Where do I see this affecting me most? I see it affecting me most in, I think you said it last week or one week. You said you're like, you're going to start noticing how people around you, and it gets so irritating. I'm like, why are you saying that? And like when people send messages, you're like, that's not good. Like, it's like, what is going on? Like, so everything seems like amplified. And so I call it like my neutralization bubble. Like, I just want to neutralize crazy comments that I'm like, I don't want the energy that you have right now. And so it's most in the house because I work from home, we homeschool, everybody's always here and around. So it's like, why are you saying that? It makes you like, don't be that police. Yeah, I'm that mouth police. You shouldn't say that. You should say this. And so then we have these, times where it's like, all right, everybody come together. How can we neutralize all this crap y'all just said? Because all that energy is just bouncing around the house now. And everybody's in a crappy mood because speaking not good stuff. So, and then they like taking forever, like, I don't know, what should I say? Like, say I love you, say that, you kind of try to prompt them and like, I'm sorry, so and so. And like, so my husband's like, yeah, okay, this is good. And like, say this. And so we're all like ganging up on the kids, but it's good. And so then, when we each start doing something, it's like you probably shouldn't say that, and then you get a little agitated, like, don't tell me, but it's all good. So it's working very good. And just even saying the affirmations in the morning, like after workout and stuff, it's like, wow, you doing that? Like, yes, I am, and then stuff starts happening, like, did that make that happen? And you just kind of just start taking notes.
I definitely see that this is on like now the fast track in my life because this has been something that I have been trying to work on for years. But right now I'm like so focused on yeah, like a lot of you have said like just other people around me or I'm realizing my own words or just even tonight thinking about things that have been said to me in the past. And I totally took those things as truth and said them countless times. So interesting to me. I'm still like just amazed at how quickly something like that you're teaching us in a focused group right now that can be so life-changing that like I've been thinking about these things, praying about them, trying to change the way that I talk or think or how I even receive. Like you said, people say things to you and like I don't receive that. It's amazing, because I've had so many people so close to me say things that I personally at the time I either took as truth or I remember vividly saying, that's not going to happen with my family. Like, and I have, like you said, sometimes I've said it out loud and sometimes I haven't, but I'm really trying to focus on those things that I've taken as truth that are not. But a lot of people have a lot of opinions when you have a bigger family. And they just think you're gonna like have horrible teenagers and they tell you that, you know, eventually your son will not want to be around you and that kind of thing. And your daughters are gonna be this or that. I'm like, wow. I think it's actually gonna be different. So I'm sorry it was that way for you, and but sometimes when I get on those lower days, I do think maybe they're right. Maybe it is going to be this way. And I just, they know more than me, but it's just not. And I know, like, God has everything to do with it. Me personally, that's my opinion. And so I'm just thankful for this time, Carmen. Like, it really is life changing. Thank you.
So for me, something I've been working on is instead of seeing, how far I still have to go, seeing how far I've come. So that's always kind of been a struggle for me is seeing like, okay, well, I've made it to here, but look how much farther I need to go. And now that could be with business, that's with my health, it's with a variety of things and not seeing the progress. And that's something I've really beat myself up over many times is I may have gotten this far, but I should have been here or I should have been here. And so yeah, so that's really what it's been for me. So what I'm working on is just changing that narrative, changing those words and speaking life into myself.
Man, Jedi mind tricks. What do I want to do? Honey, I love it that you know where to put your dirty clothes at the end of the day. Can we speak truth into that? Like speak truth into son, it's so great that every time you're done playing video games, you know where to put the dishes. And I love that you love to unload the dishwasher. This is where my brain's going with this because I just feel like can we, you speak the truth and where the head goes, the body follows. So yeah. And I'm not trying to make light of the situation. Understand, I learned something about myself recently, that I grew up with a rather reactive mother. So I was always trying to smooth things over, make sure everything's okay. And the problem is I took that into friendships where I was always coming in to rescue, but no, Sarah doesn't need help. And my husband's kind of in the same mold. And so there's very few times where we ask for help. We're always helping and rescuing people. And so they're like, where are you? You know? And so yeah, so I think it's the just like, and it was a thing I did even before I started with this is, I told Krista and I told certain friends that I knew that would be there for me and be positive and just say, hey, will you just ping me like once a week and see how I'm doing, and just, speak positivity in what I'm doing with Carmen. And, everybody has been awesome. So my sister-in-law sends me a text, checks in with me. She's done body before, so she knows what, all the beautiful things we're trying to incorporate into our lifestyle. See, positive talking. But yeah, it's just asking for, being able to ask for help, and speaking about the beauty of the everyday, and by that I mean, don't make it a chore, make it a choice. That's kind of where I'm headed. But yeah, if you could help me Jedi mind trick my daughter now. No, I'm kidding. I'm not trying to belittle the thing, but I think there is some power, absolutely, to your words, and, being positive rather than telling them stop doing something, start doing something.
100%.
Hi. Um, so, for me, it's the same as Janine. Um, it's like for me, nothing is impossible. I always think about, I'm grateful for where I came from, but I still want to keep going. And I always like thinking positive. Yes, I can go there and I will go there. And I always talking to my husband about this too. It's like if you want something, like nothing can stop you to go there. Like it's like I'm always in my mind thinking and always like positive that yes, even not today, but I know one day I will get there.
I have to agree with Jenna. This is like and I think Amy said life-changing. It for me, it really, really is, because it makes me realize, like, when I look at the fruit, because again, I think you guys all know I was not raised with religion. So like hearing some of these things is like probably the first time I've heard of it said like that. And I'm really, really proud of most of my mentality in my life, because like, for example, just one positive is like my son. Like, it's difficult having a kid when you're 40 and pregnant and your husband's in law school, and he's so rambunctious and he's so huge and he's so heavy and he's so tall, and but I like look at it as so much fun. And I know that, like, I have other mom friends that they're just like, oh, like, and you can look at it like that, but then if you just look at it as like, oh my God, I'm having the best time. This is, and you end up having fun with it, right? So like in a lot of areas of my life, I actually do speak really positively, and I've always been confident about like my capabilities, my intelligence, how I show up, how I put my all in. Like, the one area that I think my fruit is evident of where it doesn't need to be is actually like a process like this, like my body and weight loss. And I mean, it's like a combination of weight loss and like physical confidence, I think. And I just don't think I've done myself any favors in that department, in so many different ways of talking. So my main goal is to fix that and work on that here. So I'm trying to be very cognizant of how I talk to myself, and specifically how I believe in myself. Like, Jean, what you just said, like I see it in your progress being in the third trimester, and like doing what you're doing and sticking to plan the way that you do. And you're just like, it's like when you say, you're just like, yeah, I want it, so I'm going to get there. It's like, of course she's doing great. Of course she's like, look at how she's talking to herself, right? I'm not talking to myself like that. I'm like, I'm probably going to fail. Like, I'm probably not going to do this. I'm probably going to have a piece of Halloween candy because I always get weak around candy. And oh, how many programs have I done and I failed? And and I just know, even though I may not say that stuff out loud, like it's there, it's up here, and I'm so aware it's up there. And I think that I need to not just be aware it's there, but be like, I reject that seed. I'll use seed for here, but in my own head, I might use another word, but I reject that seed, and I'm just gonna say something different. So
Yeah. And that's where it starts. Listen, like, we can't always control the thoughts that we have. But it's what do we do with that thought? And that's where even it says take every thought captive. And so sometimes you see this thought coming down the pipeline, and you're like, oh no, 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 no. And you just get your baseball bat or you get your roundup out and you're like, get out of here. And then you replace it with something else. So exactly what you just said. No. That was the old me. This is the new Neela. And yeah, I always caved before, but I am a brand new badass that actually doesn't love Halloween candy, and I ain't having it today because it's just future poop. And that was the old me. So no. And it's like literally actively changing the narrative. It's actively changing that thought that comes, because listen, and this is one of the things that helped me is I would think, okay, as someone who believes in the Bible and stuff like that, I would think, okay, does God want me, like, he knows I committed to this, right? He knows I said I was going to do this. Does he want me to go eat that crap? Like, who would want me to eat that? Like, who would want me to get off track? Who would want me to break my word? Who would want me to feel like crap about myself and feel like a failure and that I can never do this? Like, right? And so when I would find myself falling victim to all this stuff, I'm like, no, like freaking no. And then it would start to, the Halloween candy, the peanut butter, it would start to tick me off. And I'm like, no longer. Like, and so as I would start to recognize some of these old behaviors, these old patterns, these old thought processes, it just became me against that, like me against the old Carmen. And I was like, this broad needs to die. Like this, and I named my inner fluffy girl, I named her Barbara. Because I'm like, Barbara just comes inside and she's like, ooh, look at that candy. Ooh, look at the peanut butter. And I'm like, Barbara, you're a hoe. Like, get out of here. Be gone. Because Barbara loves to eat, especially after 9 o'clock at night. And so I would be like, Barbara, you get your fluffy butt back to where you belong, because you do not belong here. And it just became this whole like game, right? Like, I know. And so, and it does get easier. The more, I mean, look at how far you guys have come in just this short time, right? So revisiting it and looking back at it, because sometimes when we start to think we've made a little bit of progress, we can kind of stop looking for progress, and we can stop looking for those areas that our words are still not lining up. And so this week, I really want you guys to be intentional, like super duper intentional, with making sure the words that not only you're speaking, but you're thinking. And when those thoughts come rolling down the pipeline and you see them and they don't line up, that's where we take that thought and we reframe it. We rewrite it. We don't even allow it to become ink on the page. We then write what we want and we get that the heck out of there. And when you start to do that and your words start to line up with who you want to become, who you are becoming, all of a sudden you start to see different fruit in your. I never saw the fruit of fit, skinny, energy until I started changing the narrative and what I was saying.